to thank all of our presenters and all the information they provided tonight, and I'd like to invite them all back out for our question and answer period. Thank you all who have been texting throughout this presentation. We may be putting some of your questions up, but we really appreciate everything. So once again, please text if you would like. The number is 208-538-3305. If you don't have access to text, there are question forms, and you just raise your hands and one of our runners will pick them up. And we will do the best to get your answers back to you as soon as we can. Our goal is to have them back in the next 72 hours, although some of you are receiving answers as you've texted them. If you are a business owner, once again, if you have specific questions about your operations, officials will be available after the question and answer period to speak to you one-on-one. So I'm going to read some questions, and the format's going to be, we'll read a question, someone from the panel can take it, or if there is an appropriate city official that can answer that question, there may be some answers coming from the audience. So the very first question is, does the wastewater treatment have the capacity to treat the expected volume?
We have Director Frederickson from the City's Public Works Department here, and he's the expert in the room for that. And he can also address concerns about sanitation as well.
Sure, I appreciate the opportunity. Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you very much. I think Ben had the best idea of possibly putting some variable message signs that indicate that IDAHO Falls is actually closed and the exits are expired. A lot of the things that we are building in public works have to do really with traffic. I think Ben mentioned a lot of things that will be helpful in that respect. The roadways and intersections that we have today, they actually, there's no way to expand them for this special event, so we're going to deal with what we deal with. And a lot with our public infrastructure that we have, water and sewer is the same thing. But just as some background, our wastewater treatment plant has the ability to treat 17 million gallons per day. As of last week, we averaged about 8.5 million gallons flowing through the plant, so we're about 50% capacity. But of that, a very large portion of that is industrial flows, not from residential use. So we have very good capacity to be able to meet the demands associated with our wastewater treatment facilities. However, one thing that we do want to encourage the public to remember is that our sewer systems are not means of getting rid of trash. The concerns that we do have is if we have any debris that clog up those systems, they can't function appropriately, and so we want to make sure that everybody utilizes those facilities for what they're meant for. On the water side, within the city of IDAHO Falls, we also have the ability to produce 65,000 gallons of water every minute. And so we have a great deal of capacity, but we'll be working with our Parks Department and other major users to try to minimize irrigation uses throughout the event surrounding as people are still in the area and try to minimize those uses. And so you as residents or business owners in IDAHO Falls can also reset your sprinkler systems or those types of things to minimize the use over this high usage time that we anticipate. Furthermore, from the sanitation or the garbage pickup, residential pickup, we plan to delay it a day. So on Monday during the Eclipse, with the traffic that we anticipate, we really want to keep those sanitation trucks off the streets. And so pickup for residential collection will actually recommence on Tuesday, and so your pickup will be delayed a day. However, we will be having probably all of our commercial container collections that are going to be ongoing, perhaps even ramped up. If you think about restaurant uses and all those things having more and more waste, we'll need to be able to service those. So we plan to actually have probably more pickups planned, and we'll deal with that on an on-call basis. So from the public works side, that really covers the majority of the items that we have.
Thank you. There was a question, will the sewers back up?
If the sewer doesn't function, so I'll probably blame IDAHO Falls Power here that's sitting here, because some of our electrical needs perhaps could go bad. But if we do have wastewater problems, The telephone number for contact 612-8108. So if there's issues associated with that, we'll try to have crews that can respond to that. We do have a SCADA system that allows us to know how our lift stations are functioning as we move sewage from various locations throughout town to the wastewater treatment plant. So those are items that will direct staff when we experience problems in some of those lift stations. But if you experience concerns, please contact the wastewater division so that we can address that.
Thank you. So next question, you can hand the mic right next to Jackie. Power outage is the question.
Thank you for the question. I am Jackie Flowers, General Manager at Idaho Falls Power. Before I be so bold as to speak for regional grids, I just want to see if there's anybody here from Rocky Mountain Power or any of the co-ops, Fall River or Lower Valley. So I'm gonna give the communication that I've had from Pacific or Grid Ops in Portland area, but if one of you has interest in weighing in, I would encourage you to do so. Unlike the water and sewer that's really isolated to local communities, the grid is one machine that really serves all of Eastern Idaho. I think we've had a taste of that in recent history with some of the big outages we've seen. We are coordinating very closely with Rocky Mountain Power, who's of course the transmission owner and operator in the area. And my conversations with the folks at Pacific or Grid Ops in Portland, that's the parent company for Rocky Mountain Power, they have reassured that they are doing everything in their power to ensure that the system is at normal operating condition with maximum capacity. So what does that mean? Right now during summer loads, Rocky Mountain Power, they peak. Their electric consumption is the highest in the summer. Idaho Falls Power, our electric consumption is the highest in the winter. Fortunately, we don't peak at the same time because that puts some strain on the broader grid. So in their case, they're monitoring very closely the loads today, or the electric consumption through the summer. They'll see some irrigation loads change as folks, get their farming and their products to the point that they're extracting versus irrigating. They are monitoring that demand and anticipating that that's going to drop before the 21st. They have also assured me that they're working to kind of like the approach that you see with ITD. Any systems that are under construction or have some sort of planned project, they're going to try to complete those for the period, restore to normal operation, and be ready to go. Those are the types of communications that we're having. Similarly, at Idaho Falls Power, we have no planned maintenance work that would involve an outage. I wish I could stand here and tell you that there will be no outage. If you could help me out with the squirrels, that's our #1 cause of outage. Don't feed them, move them on their way. A couple areas that I think we think of as biggest risk for us, frankly, is getting staff to the outage location. Just like when you're caught in a traffic congestion and a power outage, we're also trying to get our staff to that outage site to service the area. So we are planning on staging our staff at various locations and hoping they can respond direct from their home on the weekends, for example, and making sure that we have adequate staffing capabilities within our community and not counting on staff coming back from Island Park, for example. So we're working to make sure we've got good crew availability. Likewise, it's moving equipment in a big outage. That's probably one of my biggest concerns. The other one for power outages is car hit poles. Unfortunately, we have a lot of distracted drivers out there, and we've seen a lot of car hit poles that, can take a substantial amount of time to restore. So not much that we can do about that one other than, encourage all of you and to, talk to everybody in your family and everybody let's pay extra attention. We've heard a lot of those warnings. The other one that I think is important to mention, particularly as we're going to have folks camping and sleeping in areas that maybe we don't traditionally have, the risk for fires starting in, different lands that, normally aren't occupied, that can spread and cause transmission lines to burn down. Those are areas that we're also concerned about. So just know that your power providers have mutual aid agreements, to try to help each other respond if there's an outage that they have a hard time getting to, and we've got staff close by, for example, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that we're coordinating the grid condition to be at maximum capacity during that period. I hope that everybody is okay with what I said, and feel free to, I'd be happy to share. I think I had a couple over here. Does anybody else want to weigh in? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is, will public transportation be available during the influx of people? And I'm going to pass that over to Dave. Maybe, have you guys talked about it in your incident?
I know nothing about public transportation.
So what we can do is we can put this answer on the EI Eclipse on frequently asked questions, and we will talk to officials at TRIPTA. Information for Spanish-speaking people. So we have PSAs running on Telemundo, and on the NASA's website, they have things both in Spanish and English, as well as some other languages. Chloe, do you happen to know?
I think there's Mandarin, there's, other Spanish
Yeah.
resources. So the Museum of Idaho, we have Spanish resources. You'll be able to find closer to the Eclipse on the website as well. But my recommendation is to send them to the NASA website if they have questions about why the Eclipse is happening, and then send them to, I don't know, public safety if they have questions.
Great. So just in case not everyone heard that, the NASA website has Mandarin and a few other languages for educational materials. Museum of Idaho has materials in Spanish and English. There is also lots of information on a lot of the information on the Eclipse websites out there. A lot of them have both Spanish and English, so that would be the best way. And if it's a public emergency, obviously, or if it is an emergency or a safety issue, then I would contact the 911, and they will have people who speak Spanish. Is that correct?
We do have some, but we have language services available too.
Okay. Landline overload, internet, cell, phone towers. I've heard that there is extra temporary cell. I think Dave mentioned that they're talking about bringing in a cell on wheels, but there's nothing for sure. The landline shouldn't be affected, from what I've heard. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. We're working with the cell phone providers, but we haven't been able to secure anything for sure yet. We'd like to see that happen. Thus far, nobody's interested in anything.
Internet, we've heard, everything we've heard from NASA is the internet will be really slow, but we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. They're telling us that it's just there'll be so many people trying to stream across the country, it's just going to come to a halt.
Any other questions that have come in?
Mike, got the mic for just 1 minute. Beauty of modern technology. I told you guys that the Ready Cares were not going to be open. They've since corrected me. I had some bad information. They will be open with extra staff.
So the next question is renting property in and out of the city to campers.
Brad Kramer, you want to talk about renting in your backyard or camping in unusual spaces?
Thank you. I'm Brad Kramer, City of Idaho Falls and Community Development Services. So let me preface my answer by saying that what I'm going to say only applies to the City of Idaho Falls. If you live in Bonneville County, Hammon, Yukon, Iona, this answer may not apply to you. When it comes to camping, camping in tents and RVs is actually not permitted unless you are in a designated area to do so. So that includes, for this event, Sandy Downs, South Torres Park, the local camping areas, the KOAs, and those types of facilities. As far as short-term rentals inside your home, that is permitted in the City of Idaho Falls. Be aware that you are subject, if you do that, to the auditorium district tax. And so you be aware that there may be an extra expense. But again, if you don't live within the city of Idaho Falls, please be sure to contact whatever jurisdiction you live in to get the answer that applies to your property.
Director Kramer, could you clarify, are you allowed to allow the kids to have a sleepover in the backyard?
Right, so we're not out patrolling for tents. If your kids are having a camp out, we're not coming after you. You also understand that there are some realities when it comes to enforcement of that particular zoning law, that we are not like the police department. We're not a 24/7 service. As people roll in on the weekends, we don't have anybody available if you were to call and say, hey, my neighbor's got a tent city in their backyard. We don't have anybody available to come and check on that. And then on Monday, we're going to be stuck in the same situation as everybody, which is high traffic volumes and perhaps some reduced ability to visit property. So be patient with enforcement in that regard. And again, don't think that we're out patrolling for tents and RVs. And if we see an RV parked in a parking lot, we're not assuming that it's occupied either. It'll probably strictly be a complaint-only response.
Thank you. Director Weitzel, can you address very briefly, just reiterate where camping is allowed in the city of Idaho Falls and what the vacancy rates look like for that?
Okay. Hi, Greg Weitzel, Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Idaho Falls. We have 3 parks that will be open to camping to the public: Sandy Downs, South Forest Park, and Idaho Falls Raceway at Noyes Park. We also have identified 4 areas for designated viewing locations. That's Community Park, Freeman Park, Museum of Idaho, and Old Butte Soccer Complex. We'll have additional staff, restrooms, porta-johns available for those crowds.
Thank you. And then Commissioner Reed, did you want to comment upon the use of property in the county for these kinds of things? Can we get the mic over to the Commissioner?
Hi, thank each of you for being here. The county ordinances do not allow for temporary camping or trailer facilities from out of state or out of the area visitors to come in and set up. We did not feel like it would be prudent to be able to permit those on such a short notice, and so at this time they're not. Again, like Director Kramer said, we wouldn't have the staff available to be able to monitor all of those, so we'd just appreciate help with that. We want the professionals to be able to take care of the emergency services rather than worrying about those type of things. So, no, we don't allow for that now. Thank you.
Okay, the next question is, some businesses were asked to close. Is this true? And what advice to businesses if they should close or not, especially delivery services?
Okay, you know what, we're going to invite our police chief to just briefly comment, and then we also have Chief Parsons here from the fire department who might have some insight about that kind of safety if you studied that, or now you have 10 seconds to think about it.
Okay, we are not making any recommendation either way whether you should close or not. That's your personal decision. Just be aware of the crowds, the influx that may be coming in, and just be prepared for those contingencies that may happen. Extra people, you may be without power, you may be without phone service, those kind of things, so just be aware of that. I think, like I said before, if you're one of those businesses that usually has one person in there, you probably ought to have 2 people in there. That's just in case there's an issue and somebody gets hurt. You got one person to help, one person to go for help, things like that.
Chief, do you foresee any safety issues associated with opening and closing that you studied from your angle?
We've spoken with some of the not-for-profit organizations about being closed that day. I know some of the banks have actually gotten authorization to close that day from the Federal Reserve. Well, I guess what the advice I would give, just from our planning and the studying I've been doing, is try to minimize the travel that your employees have to do. If you have employees that are traveling from Rexburg to come work in Idaho Falls or vice versa, then it might be a good idea to get somebody to work that's maybe a little bit closer to your business instead of further away. But as far as delivery services and things like that, I think that those things probably can be open. I would just expect everything to be super slow, like we've discussed.
Thank you, and I believe we have universities that have opted to delay classes just for that very reason, just to keep the traffic down, not for any other safety type reason. In the city of Idaho Falls, we will have essential services available. Non-essential services, those personnel have been given the option of taking a vacation day or showing up to work and possibly being reassigned to some other area where we might need some additional staffing power. But regular office work probably will not be happening with any consistency at the city on that day. And again, it's because we wanted to give people the option to either have this experience with their families or to be off the roads.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming tonight. So if you need more information, go to the Eclipse website, go to the City of Idaho Falls website, go to Attendees website, go to Public Health. I think I've got everybody.